guys better play Brilliant Fusion while you still can. Yeah, my Gemini deck's pretty broken.
YugiNoNo!
King prepare! Alright guys, obviously in this video we are not only going to be talking about Brilliant Fusion, but we are going to be going over Konami's history of hitting generic engines. Konami is notorious for limiting and banning just generic engines, which I think really sucks because I think generic engines are really good for the game and promote creativity, as well as just serve the general purpose of getting everybody's deck started. And if you think about it, there are a lot of decks out there that can't really get started as well as others on their own, so having generic engines like Brilliant Fusion or the Terratop engine to get everything rolling is just really beneficial to everybody. But let's start off with the history of generic engines. The most early one I can think of off the top of my head right now is the Teledad engine, and that used cards like Armageddon Knight to send Destiny Hero Malicious to the graveyard, and then you would banish the Destiny Hero Malicious to get another Malicious, then activate Emergency Teleport to get out Creepons from your deck, and then Synchro Summon for a level 8 Synchro. This engine was made possible because Armageddon Knight and Dark Grepher are both warriors, so you can search them with reinforcement of the army, as well as everything being dark, so you can use Allure of Darkness to kind of go through your deck and get the pieces that you need. And now I'm going to be pointing out something here. You will notice as time goes on that these engines get progressively more broken as the game evolves. I mean, the general Teledad engine is broken, but like the Teledad deck itself that, you know, the engine is named after was tier 0. And Dark Arm Dragon had like the highest hype price of like any card of all time. And let me just explain this. So let's just say you summon Armageddon Knight, you send your Malicious, you banish your Malicious, and then you get another Malicious. That is a +1. But then you activate Emergency Teleport, which gets you Creebons, and that's just a 1-for-1. And then you Synchro Summon for a level 8 Synchro, which still just leaves you with the normal +1 after all that is said and done. Except for your other Malicious in the graveyard, which you can banish and then get another Malicious, you know? So the engine just kind of keeps going and going and going, which is what made it powerful and led to its inevitable ban. But nowadays we have 3 Destiny Hero Malicious available to us, but nobody is playing that engine, which just obviously points out how much power creep has an effect on the game. And the next like generic engine that I can think of is like the Lone Fire's, you know, Plant engine, because Plant Synchro with like Synchrons and everything was really powerful back in the day. Being able to do all these spam summon shenanigans and like get out Quasar pretty consistently led to Lone Fire Blossom going to like, what, 1 or 0? I think just 1. And cards like Dandelion went to 1, which is still at 1, I believe. But once again, guys, we have 3 Lone Fire Blossoms available to us right now and basically the entire Plant engine, and we really don't play the original Plant engine. Now, Lone Fire Blossom has been making a comeback with Predaplants because of the new Predaplant engine, but I would say the Plant engine at the time compared to all the other decks at the time, compared to the Plant engine now, compared to all the other decks now, I mean, the Plant engine back then was just so much better. And now getting to your more simple engines, first up, let's talk about Tour Guide from the Underworld. Tour Guide from the Underworld, as well as Rescue Rabbit, were 1-card Xyz. Tour Guide lets you summon a fiend from the deck and lets you just instantly make an Xyz monster. Rescue Rabbit is very similar, except Rescue Rabbit banishes itself from the field and summons 2 normals from your deck and then lets you make an Xyz monster. And if you guys don't remember the original ruling about Xyz monsters could take advantage of Sangan. So you could go Tour Guide to Sangan and then overlay and then detach from that Xyz monster and detach the Sangan and actually get its effect. Obviously it is not ruled like that these days, but originally it was, allowing like for insane plays. And that eventually landed Tour Guide on the ban list. I believe it was semi-limited or limited, but don't quote me on that. I know it was actually on the list, but I don't remember at what number. Now Rescue Rabbit, however, I do know what number it got hit to because it is still at 1 today. And that is because a fan-made deck called Dino Rabbit was just devastating the meta. It was a very powerful anti-meta deck and played, you know, cards like Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos with ease, and it really just kind of tore shit up. So Rabbit, I think, went to 2 and then 1, and it is still at 1 today because it's a 1-card Xyz. Keep that in mind, guys. 1-card Xyz. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and go forward in time to the Perform Mages. And I talked about this in my Norden video, but Perform Mages were just way too strong. Perform Mages were so powerful that your deck was literally bad. It was horrible if you weren't playing them. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like that for a very long time until the emergency ban list that hit Pepe. So think about it, guys. From the initial release of Clash of Rebellion all the way to that emergency list where Pepe was finally hit, you had to play Perform Mages. It was mandatory in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! For you to play Perform Mages. That is ridiculous. That is how powerful that engine was, and once again, guys, it got hit. So now let's talk about this newest list. As we all know, Elder Entity Norden got banned. And that is because, like I said in the video where I called that ban, it is a 1-card Xyz. It breaks Instant Fusion. And as I stated in that video, Instant Fusion is a completely fair card without Norden. Even with Theseus being a tuner, it is a completely fair card because it is just a 1-for-1. It is not a 1-card Xyz, it is just a 1-for-1, which is completely fine and fair in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, Terratop got hit because Terratop is a free special summon that is a +1 as well. Who thought that was a good idea? Not only did the Terratop engine keep decks like Burning Abyss / PK Fire alive way longer than it should have been, but Terratop also gets splashed in like everything these days. I mean, not literally everything, but a lot of decks play it. And that is why on this next list it's going to 1. 1 is completely fair because at 1, no one's gonna really play it except in pure Speedroid decks, but who's playing pure Speedroid, right? Who doesn't play Speedroids? Alright guys, so the whole point behind that entire Yu-Gi-Oh! History lesson was to establish and point out that there is a definite pattern. So now we're going to be talking about the 2 main generic engines that are left besides the Predaplant engine that I was talking about earlier. Those being the Zodiac engine and the Brilliant Fusion engine. Zodiac, I don't even need to talk about very much. Bummerat or Rapier, whatever you want to call it, is going to get banned. Something as big is going to happen to that archetype. It is going to be unplayable at some point or another. Not only because of how powerful it is right now, but how powerful it will be when links come out. It's gonna go, guys. So really play Zodiac while you can. If you like playing the deck, keep playing the deck because it's not gonna be too much longer. It's gonna be a few more months, couple more months, whatever. It's gonna be until August or whenever that next list will come out, and Zodiacs are probably going to be gone. I'm calling it now. The Zodiac engine is just way too splashable. It's way too powerful. And 1-card Xyz, have I said that yet? 1-card Xyz guys are just way too splashable and way too powerful, so Zodiac's gotta go. And next up, we finally have the main topic of the video, which is Brilliant Fusion, or rather Gem-Knight Seraphinite. Because without Seraphinite, Brilliant Fusion would really only be played in Gem-Knight decks, so Brilliant Fusion itself is completely fine and fair. Gem-Knight Seraphinite allowing the Brilliant Fusion engine to function and be splashable into any deck is really the problem. But right now, I consider it to be a completely fair engine because if you draw your Brilliant Fusion target, you're most likely screwed unless you could shuffle it back with something like Durindal, for example, or if you draw into too many Brilliants, it's kind of bad as well. So the engine can be very powerful if you draw the right hand, but it can also be very bricky, which I think leads it to be fair. I mean, yeah, you get 2 normal summons, but as of right now, that's not really that big of a deal. And plus, Brilliant Fusion helps out so many rogue decks. Like, I've seen Trap Tricks play it, for example, and you get 2 normal summons. Like, that's really good. I came up with a fun Rockstun Brilliant deck that works. I've showed you guys a Brilliant Fusion hero deck profile, which was like pre-Toad, so it was really good because you would open up with Darklaw Rafflesia. It was really powerful. But at the same time though, even Darklaw Rafflesia in a really powerful hero deck, even at that time, was not very strong. I mean, it was strong, it was competitive, but it was more like play competitive, not like true competitive like other decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time. Not to say that competitive decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Haven't used the Brilliant engine because they have. ABCs is a prime example of that. That was the best deck in the game at one point. But the point I'm trying to make here is, for the most part, Brilliant Fusion is used in just kind of like rogue decks. It's kind of used to help out, you know, players that just need that extra normal summon or something. Now, we don't know what the meta is going to look like after this next list coming up this month, so I could be eating those words. Maybe there'll be like this new revival of Brilliant Fusion in like every single deck. I don't know, but I will tell you this. Brilliant Fusion is in danger. Brilliant Fusion is in danger because of 2 reasons, okay? One, it is splashable, which I think I've thoroughly made my point on that in this video, but I hate to say it, but I think it's gonna get banned after links come out, or maybe even like preemptively before links really take hold in our meta, because Brilliant Fusion is very, very powerful with link monsters. Not only for the double normal summon, but because you can use the Seraphinite, you know, and then like one of your normal summon monsters, and then make a link monster and free up your zones, and so on and so on. And I've seen some really crazy combos done here on YouTube using Brilliant Fusion. So based on what I've seen and just basic observation going, you know, throughout the years of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Brilliant Fusion, or rather Seraphinite, I should say, is probably gonna get hit at some point or another. Because like I was saying earlier, Seraphinite is really the problem, not Brilliant Fusion. Brilliant Fusion is just fine in Gem-Knight decks. Brilliant Fusion would not be making a splash anywhere else if it wasn't for Seraphinite. But yeah, guys, I would love to hear your opinions on this subject down in the comment section. And as always, be sure to dick slap that like button and subscribe.
subscribe.